Okay, here's one for you because we didn't get to this point. Like, when did mom and dad be like, what the fuck? Like, you came from a great family, so did I. Like, I'll tell you, when I went broke the first time, I think I might have told you this. When I left playing pro ball when I was 25, independent league ball, I went to Wall Street and I turned to one of my buddies before I got onto Wall Street. I said, I went back home to Connecticut and I was like, dude, we were playing softball, drinking in the parking lot after a softball game. We're sitting in the lawn chairs and I'm like angry as a motherfucker because I didn't get drafted. And now I'm done, pretty much done with baseball. Now I don't really have an identity. Like, sports was my life, where I grew up. That's why I had to get the fuck out of there. I basically told him, like, dude, I'm not going to be Al Bundy and like be the used car salesman with all my fucking high school trophies and my college trophy. That's not happening. Right. I'm going to make my first $1 million before I'm 30.
Right.
And God or whoever was like, yeah, you're going to go to Wall Street. And that's how I did it. I made my first $1 million by the time I was 28. And I was dead broke by the time I was 30 and owed $300,000. And I only saw my pops cry twice. And they were both for horrible reasons. One, I didn't get drafted because he wanted to have this big draft party. I wanted to have it too. And then two was when I went broke. And he was really disappointed in me. And I just, that more than anything, than the money, than like all the stupid shit gambling and like all the stuff I did when I went broke, that sticks in my head the most. Like,
me too. 2 times seen him cry.
And by the way, we didn't stage this story. This is like the first time we're talking about this shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, that just like quietly whimpering, and it's just like it came down. I didn't even know what to say,
Yeah, man, that fucking empty feeling in your
kills
stomach.
You. It would suck seeing moms cry, but like when Pops breaks down, it's like,
because he's a dude. Like, my Pops never cried.
Heavy.
Yeah, that one was deep. That one hurt. So tell me, like, you were.
So they were like, I started dating a girl in high school, and it was just nasty from the start. Not nasty, but like just not. It's a high school relationship, but like started to get fueled by drugs. She lost her brother to drugs, and like then I was taking the same drugs that he was taking, and so it was just vicious, and then I just ended up spiraling out of control. And at that point in time, my parents could not stop me. Like, my dad was traveling all the time for work still. He was actually commuting to Florida at that time to work at Johns Hopkins in St. Pete. Yeah. He was the director of the IT building over there. So he was out of town all the time. My mom started going back to school to be an esthetician and then became an esthetician. She was also working at a daycare. So like I had free reign most of the time to do whatever. Exactly. Yeah. And then also, when I first started smoking weed, they were like, you can't smoke this and that, da, da, da. So that kept me away from the house so I could sober up.
Right. Right.
But then, it got to a point where it's like, well, I'm already not going to be home. Fuck it, I'll take that. Or I'll snort that coke. Like, who cares? Because I'm not going home. I'll figure something out, or I'll come back at 3 a.m. when they're asleep. So, yeah, they when it was to the point for them to be like, "What the fuck?" Like, I was too far gone. Yeah, and it sucked. It sucked to it sucked to like see that at that point where it's just like I can't help myself. They're not gonna help me. Every time we talk, it's an argument because like, just get away from me. I want to go do what I want to do because I'm already this deep.
Yeah, and I'm already doing it anyways.
Right, right.
So
and with them, it was like I came home from school when I was younger. There was martini glasses in the freezer. They drank a lot, and that's fine. They kept it together. They could drink. My dad drinks like. They can keep it. I've never seen him wasted, but he drinks, So like, right? So.
Oh, I get him.
Yeah.
I get him. I totally understand.
So just a lot of that.
Isn't it interesting that we as a society think that, and this is what bothers me. And again, I don't know anybody that I've been with that only has one drink. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of people out there. Just the people I ran with, there was never one. I didn't do one of anything. It wasn't going to be one pill. It wasn't going to be one line of cocaine. It wasn't going to be
It's never
drink.
one line of cocaine.
Ever. Once you do the first one,
Never.
It's never. No, you chase
I'm
that.
still chasing the first high off of that.
And that's
You know?
what they always say about ecstasy. Everybody goes back to ecstasy because it's after you do that first high, everybody chases that very first high, and you never. And I think that's why they say the same. I think it must be every drug.
It's just the same. It's just like, same thing about heroin, same thing about coke. Xanax, I mean, you don't remember shit on it anyway.
No,
so
no,
it's
you're
like,
a fucking complete puddle.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so. Did your parents when
they helped me tremendously.
they did?
Tremendously. I mean,
You
I
got
wouldn't-
arrested. Like they were like.
I gave it a couple days to ponder it, and I told them because
They were here though.
they were yes, they were down in Florida.
Were they shocked or?
My dad was more shocked that he's like, "You're so stupid." He's like, "You could have navigated those waters way better. I know you could have done that." Like, you know,
Like a true salesman.
yeah. He was like, "You could have." He's like, "What were you thinking?" You know, because like I had cash that like you could put a down payment on a house on. Where it went, just gone, just spent it doing dumb stuff. You know, and.
Did you buy cars?
I didn't buy anything.
Nothing.
Nothing. Just
spent
sat
it
on it and
spent
just
stupid shit.
Stupid shit in college. You know,
Yeah.
doing whatever I wanted to. If I wanted to go out of town, whatever, you could
just
do
went.
it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's
I have nothing to show for
It's
it.
like Johnny Manziel, like fucking the Manziel story from Texas A&M.
You know, if I really wanted to, I could have bought a car. But how am I going to afford a car? I bought a car.
By the way, you're talking about 2000 what?
This is 15 to.
So it's not like when I could have bought a car. You could actually walk into a car dealership and dump cash on the table. Because I saw one of my buddies do that in Vegas. He dumped $500,000 on the counter. And it's like, I want that Bentley. Yeah. And you could do that back then. And then the Patriot Act, all that stuff happened that you can't do that anymore. And as I hate to say this, as much as I love cash, it's going away in 2024 as we see people carry less and less of it. But there's no way you could have walked into a car. If you had $100,000 in cash, it wasn't like, oh, you want to go buy that Lamborghini.
I'd be audited,
or
and
Maserati.
they would be like, "What? Where did you get this?
all this
You're
shit?
in college.
Yeah.
You look like shit. Too.
Yeah, you look like shit. You dress like shit, but you're driving a Maserati. Yeah. And where did you get this? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's fucking funny stuff.
So, you know. But yeah, it all disappeared. It all evaporated. You know, everything. You know, it didn't matter what it was. It just all evaporates over time.
Yeah, it does.
And you don't realize it because you're too caught up getting high and being with your get high buddies. And whatever.
And that's what it is. It's the same thing. It's the same thing when you stop drinking. Your drinking buddies, they're not around anymore. And if you don't truly cut ties with that shit, it's really, really hard to get out of it. They always come back.
Yeah.
They always come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the both of us God wanted us down here in Florida for some reason, and I think that's the reason why, one of the reasons, because I always say this, that if I had stayed in New Jersey, I had to stop in Puerto Rico first, then I came here. But if I had stayed in New Jersey, I wouldn't have made it past. I actually had a dream, and I think I told you this. I had a dream that I be divorced by the time I was 48. 48 popped in my head, divorce, and then 51, me falling out of the sky, like that I was gonna die. Yeah. And that was the same year as COVID, and everybody up there got the shot. And then there's a lot of people that died from the shot that they don't talk about. And I know with how I was so overweight and my blood pressure, I looked like I was so red, like bright red every single day. My kids will tell you, I looked like Santa Claus. Yeah. And that was a good day. And between the drinking, the horrible food, and the drugs, I was a recipe for fucking disaster.
Heart attack, stroke, something.
Absolutely.
Something's giving out.
Yeah, something was gonna go. And so then I moved down here and my life's changed, and it's just, I'm blessed. But this is why we do this stuff. I think it's super important that we talk about this stuff number one, it's healing for both of us. No, I mean, it really is. And we look back on it now and we can laugh, but when you're going through that grind,
there's nothing funny about
Nothing
36 years hanging over my head.
no, and you still thought
Nothing
you could
funny.
get out of that thing.
Yeah, but the sickest part is in the beginning, I was still trying to get out and get high and drink and stuff. And like, I got popped a couple times for it. And they're like, you only have so many times before you're done, you know? And granted, I wasn't shooting dope or, you know, anything like that. They got me on sales. So like, and I had already kind of kicked most of the stuff that I was doing because I was planning on coming down here. So comparing me to, which is horrible to say, to other people on the program who grew up in that town and like are really fighting, you know, a heroin addiction or a meth addiction, it's just like, I felt so out of place too, you know. But I will say this, it's like, if that didn't happen to me, if I didn't get caught up the way that I did and I came down here,
You would have jumped in the crew here.
dude, I would have hit the ground running so hard.
Yeah,
I would
here.
have dented the concrete. I would have been
Absolutely.
out. Like,
Yeah.
forget my parents. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. I'm in Florida, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different beast. Like,
it is.
Like, I wouldn't want to go and try and roll the dice in the Bronx or something
Hell
like that.
no.
You
But
know?
Florida,
But Florida,
I'll
you
take
can
a
get
shot.
you can get some
Especially
some
coming
old
from
money
New
and-
York.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know how to move. Yeah, like, you know, I'm not stupid. I'm pretty street smart. You know, I could do it. But I definitely wouldn't roll the dice like it's in an inner city like that. You know, I'd get eaten alive up there. You know, down here you could pick Sarasota, you know, and that's all old money that you could just take advantage of.
Yeah.
And you could find a good connect down here
I bet.
to do that.
Yeah.
So
Does it let me ask you this. Does it cross your mind sometimes?
what, to go back to it?
Yeah.
It's too stressful.
Yeah.
It's so stressful.
Yeah.
You know, I'm done looking over my shoulder.
That's good.
Like, since I've been down here, yeah, I've, you know, fucked around and whatever.
Right.
Not really selling, but like
Yeah.
I've fucked around, but like it's so stressful to go do that again. You know, especially knowing that if I do get hit with a felony, I think my charges open back up in New York, so I have to fight those, and then I have to fight this. So that would not be consecutive. That wouldn't be concurrent. I'd have to run 2 of those if I found guilty on both. Concurrent. Yeah, gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that makes no sense.
yeah, no,
It's not worth it.
no.
No.
I have a great job. I love what I do.
You're
It's
awesome at it,
stressful.
by the way. Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you. It's
a different stress.
It's it's stressful. I mean, some days you just sit in the truck for an hour when you pull in your parking spot, and you just sit there and you think like,
Yeah. Well, I know exactly where you're going with this because I do this. I do the same thing, and I said this to my wife. Yeah, I said, I feel like between the podcast, raising 5 kids and 2 dogs, and keeping Wall Street, which isn't really going, but like that's my main business. We have 2 rental properties, and they bring in money, but like I have a lot of mouths to feed.
yeah,
And that doesn't really pay the bills. The stress, and I think about when I was rolling in it and all the stupid fucking decisions I made. Like clubs, I go to $20,000 at for a table because I wanted to be close to Avicii. Like, great, he's dead. Like, fuck.
Right,
Like,
yeah, right.
Like, that's great. 20 grand, or I wanted to be close to fucking whatever DJ was out there, Tiesto, or like, what?
yeah,
Like now I look back on it and I'm like, I could really use that money.
yeah.
Yeah.
20 G's in a night.
Yeah, 20
Yeah,
G's
come
in a
on.
night. Or gambling.
Yeah, right. And
like,
I think
or
even
gambling in sports. And
I
losing.
even think about that too. You know, like gambling once in a while. It's like I could have used that.
Yeah,
you know?
I could have used that. And my swings were huge.
Yeah,
They were massive.
Yeah.
You know, I talked about it on one of my episodes. I was like, and I'm not bragging about it. Like I had one turn where I was up 90,000 in less than 2 weeks. And 4 weeks later, I owed 120.
yeah,
Like, fuck, what?
yeah.
That's insane. That's
Yeah.
not even, like...
You can't even wrap your head around
And by
it.
the way, I knew I was going to lose. This is how fucking, like, addictive my personality is. I used to tell my guy, don't even give me the money because I'm going to give it back to you.
Yeah, yeah.
How fucked up is
Oh,
that?
I know. I'd been there. I said that to my buddy the other day. I was just like, he was saying like how he had a huge swing up and he went down, and I was like, I bet you said right when you broke even after you were like, this was gonna happen anyway, so I might as well just
go.
take it to the max.
Yeah.
And then you're up to 3,000, then you're back down to zero, and then you're negative 4,500,
Yep.
and it's just like, well, it's okay because I knew this was gonna happen.
You always,
Justifying it.
justifying it on Sunday nights into Monday morning. You wake up, your stomach fucking hurts, you're sick, and then what do? You compound it by drinking, and then you know what? Let me dabble a little bit. Like I got to get that off my mind. Yeah. But guess what? You wake up and it's twice the anxiety because you still fucking owe the money and you feel like shit the next day. Yeah. And that's what I always have to remember. Like there's times. And it doesn't really happen to me too much. Now I'm going on almost 4.5 years of no drinking and no pills since 16, and none of that shit for a while. But no pills. That was my biggest downfall. Like the oxycodone, like I was taking 30 milligram oxys, like they were fucking Tic Tacs, like 6 to 10 a day. Yeah. I'm not even sure why I'm still alive. And drinking the amount of, like your pops, drinking vodka like it was water. Right. Because being on Wall Street, like that's what you did. That was happy hour. Like I said, my lunches would go into happy hour, into dinner, into the nightclub, and then, Wednesday, Thursday, not so much Friday, and even sometimes Tuesday nights, you got to get out with some dudes and you got to talk business and you got to do that. And one thing leads to another, and then,
everything goes on the company card because they're clients.
And everything. And I'm I was the client.
Oh, you
so,
okay,
so even better. Back then, I get to go and
exactly.
eat and drink. And then sometimes, to make myself look good outside of the other clients, I'd pick up the tab. Because I'm like, most of these guys are on Morgan Stanley's dime. I'm like, dude, you know what? I'm going to do you a solid. And then that sets off a relationship that goes a little deeper. See, I'm smart. Like I'm a street kid like you. Like I think about manipulating that part so I can make my allocations better for the next hot deal that comes, which, that's part of life. Like I'm cool with that.
That's
like,
fine. That's fine.
Cool.
That's playing your cards
right.
right.
But knowing that it's going to lead into other stuff throughout the night, and I could never show. I had no show.
Couldn't say no, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, I know the feeling you were in because I've been in that feel. Even when you got popped, you were like, I can get out of this. Like, and I remember being in situations where I'm like, I'll get out of this. I always get out of this. Like, I'm not, like, worried about it.
And then what really drove home the fact that I wasn't gonna get out of it is we had a lawyer on retainer in the city, New York City. And my public defender was like, if you bring some hot shot up here, they are going to rake you over the coals. Like, do not do that. Seriously? They hate that. He's like, you have a better chance just going with the public defender. I know the judge. Like your guy doesn't know the judge and stuff. He's like, you would get destroyed if you did that. Seriously? So I didn't. And the judge was a dick? No, the one that oversaw drug court that I had to report to every Tuesday. We had a court hearing every other Tuesday. He was great guy. Great guy. I mean, he's a judge, but he's a good guy. He was fair.
Because you failed a couple times.
And
it's not the same guy every time.
It's the same guy every time, and it's not just him. There's a team of people that are deciding your fate, essentially, your performance. You go 2 weeks. Well, how did you do this week? How did contestant X do this week?
Right.
Well, he did pretty good. He got all of his slip signed. He was late to the meeting. All right, well, we're going to give him a sanction. Maybe he has to write an essay on what it means to be on time. Right. It's a rehabilitating program. It's meant to help people who are really, really in the deep shit. And like I said, I wasn't shooting dope, but I was in the deep end in my own way.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
You know what part of our problem is, too, is that we were immature. Like that's part of we were immature men trying to be real men. Like, cause they basically, when they do stuff like that to you, they give you assignments. They're trying to teach you that being on time, all that stuff's important in life. And we were always like, fuck it. Like, I don't love rules. I don't like,
fuck
all that shit.
My PO said something. I was getting pissed off. I'm like, and I said to her, I was like, I'm not these fucking people that are, I'm not like this. And it was me and two of my buddies who, I'm not like that. Well, but it's like, and she's like, yeah, you have a point. She's like, but you know what I think your problem is? She's like, you have a huge sense of entitlement, a huge ego, and she's like, you better shut it off because nobody likes that on this program. Like, we're here to help you, and like, yeah, we understand that you're not homeless on the street. Like, you have good parents. Like, we're not the typical drug court participant, but we did enough to get on drug court, so we are a drug court participant. We may be atypical, but we still earned our spot there.
I used to say that like I've been gambling since I was fucking knee high to a grasshopper, and I don't gamble anymore. I mean, maybe dabble here and there, but like I don't do like I used to do because I always fucking lost no matter what. I realized I don't like losing, so why are you doing that? Like,
it's a thrill to win.
Yeah, and then when I won, it was never the high of what the original first high that I got, even when I won, like for fucking $25.
Then you're chasing like an 8-leg parlay.
Yeah,
it's never gonna hit.
It's never gonna happen. Oh, I did all those too. 10-teamers for fucking Gino, like so I can get close to being even. Oh God, all these dumb things. And once in a while, I would hit one. And I'd still lose all the fucking money. It didn't matter. It never mattered.
It never mattered.
And I remember when I was and I did this in high school. Like we would shoot dice in high school, and then I went off to college, and I got in trouble in college with that. So they sent me to GA, and I was like, I don't have a fucking problem, which I did. I just didn't want to admit. Now I was a big time baseball player, so I already had an ego. Bookmakers in today's world, people don't know what bookmakers are, but they're the guys who used to make the bets through, not like today where you can do everything online because it's legal. But when you had a bookie and you would call him and he would pay you on Monday or you would pay him on Friday, whatever. They love guys like us, monster egos.
Yeah,
because you're always gonna lose.
Yeah,
always. And I walked into GA but I am very smart, like street kid, and I'm watching these guys go around the room, tell their stories, and I was, first of all, I was scared. I'd never been in one of those things before. I was young. I was a teenager, and there was old people, young people, wives, like it was just a mix of everybody, black, white, Puerto Rican, didn't matter. It attacks everybody. But I did, and I would sit back and I would like watch. And I was like, man, I don't think a lot of people are telling the truth here. And a few times I would go outside. This is when the payphones, you had a call from the payphone to put it. Some of these motherfuckers were going out into the payphone and putting their bets in while I was in GA. And I'm like, these motherfuckers are still gambling and they're in GA. Like, it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? But my ego would always be like, I'm not like that guy, but I really was.
It's vicious, because you would have been at some point. You would have been that guy.
Absolutely,
or you could have been that guy.
Absolutely, I was just too young and I was too scared. But I definitely, if I was 20 something and I was in GA, I'll go to GA. Don't worry about it. And I go and I put my bets in. Like absolutely, but my ego was like, these fucking guys all lie in here, and then but I would have been doing the same thing. Yeah. It's a vicious fucking circle. I mean, and again, people, we laugh about this now because we've lived it, but it's not funny.
It's not funny, but it's we relate to it, and we know what the feeling is, and but it is sad at the end of the day.
It always ends up a horror story.
Yeah, and one thing that always resonated with me, I usually went to NA, but I went to AA a few times, or more than a few times, but. There's one dude, he said, he's like, I didn't hit bottom, but I could see bottom. He's like, and it scared the shit out of me. And I was just like, well, his bottom, his not total bottom, was way deeper than what my bottom is, even though I'm facing, time or whatever. My life, I'm not 42 and threw my whole life away yet. I still can bounce back from this, which I have. Some of these people could not bounce back, and their bouncing back is like, just treading water, maintaining. I could do great things in the future. Some of these people, and they can, but it's
and that's what most people don't realize about life and about being a human. Here's one thing that I always say on the podcast. We were put on this earth, we're gonna make mistakes and we're gonna fail, but we should be happy that we're failing because that gives you an opportunity to fix it and become better. Like, nobody's perfect on this earth, but there are so many people. We're blessed that we actually see it that way. So many people that you said are just out there just treading water. And there's more of them out there that are literally just trying to survive than really trying to make a difference. And I told my kids since they were born, you were put on this earth for a very short time. I said, your goal in life is to make a difference. Your last name's Del Vecchio. Make a difference. Right. You're not regular dudes. Regular dudes go through life. They stay in the middle lane. They don't fucking, oh, I got a job. I go home. I said, no, make a difference. I don't care. It's not about how much money you make. It's about what you're doing in life. And most people today, I hate to say it, don't really want to make a difference. They don't.
Nobody's making a difference in an impactful way.
No, this stuff, I feel like us telling our truths, because most people hide behind their truth.
Somebody, like, a good example is like somebody may come across this on some reel or whatever, and they may be in drug court right now. Yeah. And they may hear the word drug court and scroll past and then come back and be like, wait, what was that? And think about it and listen to it. And if that can get to one person, I agree. Then good, you know?
Absolutely. And that's the best thing you could say is good. Yeah. Because that means we are trying to do good for people. Like, because we came out of this thing and we're hitting the ground running and doing the best we can as people.
And like, don't get it twisted. Like, we still struggle. I still struggle.
God,
you know?
I say it all the time on my podcast.
But at least I can call a spade and, you know, try and do something about it. Yeah. You know, try and move myself in the right direction. Yeah. Maybe kick myself in the ass. But call my friends who came back around, because like I said, not all my friends came back around to stay with, you know, and see who I am today. But like, those are the friends that I call and say, dude, like, I'm going through it right now. Whether it's like a relationship, like I was saying earlier, like this new relationship, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's
whatever
tough.
You guys young kids call it now.
Well, but
not
like,
dating, whatever.
I would say date, but I don't know, because, you know, she's gone now. So like that's something I got to work through and whatever. And it's like, well, what do I do? Right. You know, do I try and
make it work?
Make it work. I'd love to, but I'm hurt from the last time I tried to make it work from a girl I was going to Penn State, and it was just like, brother, you know, that level of stress is like insane. Yeah. And it's no fault to her or whatever, but you know, it's just the way that the cookie crumbled, and it's rough.
Was she around for that time, or were you already out of the?
What, the Penn State one? Yeah,
the Penn State one. Was she around with the drug stuff?
Oh yeah, that was the one that was my first girlfriend. Oh yeah. And but then she got the Xanax script, and then me and my buddy were taking it off of her, because my buddy and his girlfriend, they were best friends, so we were best friends.
And of course you were.
It was so bad. So yeah, but I mean, listen, I still talk to my friend about it today. Like, did it suck that all that happened? Yeah, but I don't know if I would trade it, because like I learned a lot from it, you know, and I'm got damaged a lot from it too. But at least it's a way for me to recognize what not to do, and then I can maybe try and put that effort towards the new person that I'm seeing, and you know. Absolutely. So it's a lot of stuff to think about.
Well, first of all, you're much wiser than your age, because you've actually been through shit. Like, not too many young kids. And again, I guess there are a lot of kids that go to prison, but like, and being able to get lucky enough that because you fucked up a couple times through court, and they let you like stumble a little bit and brought you back, and now you're on the fucking great path. Yeah. You're doing great things. You're doing great things for yourself. Now we got to do this, and I do consider him a friend, and if he ever needs anything, I'm always here for him. So, yeah, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming on. And guys, listen, thank you so much. Please follow us on our social media pages, and good night, and God bless. Thank you.